So if you know anything about me, you know that I am obsessed with Animal Crossing New Horizons. If you don't know what that is, it's the greatest video game of all time. And there is a very big, important update coming out in like 2 days. If you're in the Animal Crossing world at all, or even just adjacent to it, you know how huge this update is. I am so excited, and so to celebrate, I have decided to recreate one of the sweaters from that game. This is the sweater that I'm gonna recreate. It's called the Rainbow Sweater, I think, and I am gonna do this green version. It comes in lots of different color combinations, but this is my favorite one. I always dress my character in this sweater, and so I thought it'd be so cute if I could kind of look like my character in real life. I also just so happened to cut my hair recently, so now my hair kind of looks like the default curly hair option in the game. So like I will really look like my Animal Crossing character when I'm done with this sweater. I got a little overexcited last night and started working on this sweater without y'all. Sorry. So this is what I have done so far. It's looking great. I think it looks pretty accurate, if I do say so myself. I think I did a really good job picking out the colors. I'm making basically the whole thing out of double crochet, so it's gonna go pretty quickly. I don't think I'm gonna finish it before the update, but I did want to get a really good start on it before the update comes out, because we all know once that update comes out, that's gonna be my life for a little bit. So I want to get a really good head start on this so that I can finish this within a reasonable amount of time of the update coming out. So since I started this project without y'all, I did want to just take a moment to kind of explain how I got started in case you want to make one of these sweaters too. So I started with a long chain that was a multiple of 21 because each one of those like little chevrons is 21 stitches wide. So I did a total of 189 stitches. Then I added 2 stitches because at the start of every round, I'm going to chain 2 so that I can start double crocheting. So that chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch. That's just like to start each round. Then to make my chevron shape, we're going to start with the chevron that points up. I double crocheted 9. Then in the next stitch, I put 3 double crochets all in that same stitch. Then I double crocheted 9 more. Then to make the chevron shape that points down, I just skipped 2 stitches and then double crocheted 9. Then in the next stitch, put 3 double crochets in that same stitch, double crocheted 9, skip 2 stitches. You just repeat that all the way around. And that's how I got this shape. So you'll see that there are these little holes everywhere where I skipped 2 stitches, but there aren't any holes here on the chevron that points up because I put 3 double crochets in each of those stitches going up. So there's holes here, but no holes here. Doing this in the round is a little bit challenging and has definitely been a little bit of a learning experience for me. When I get to the end of a round, I'll come back and kind of explain what I'm doing. It's not hard, but it was just kind of like weird to figure out. There might be a better way, but this is what I'm doing. We'll get to that though when I get to the end of a round. So I've just come to the end of my round. I just double crocheted 9 after this increase. So I'm going to skip this last stitch and I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. So here you can see I have a chain 2, which does not count as a stitch. So I'm going to slip stitch into the first double crochet. Then I'll turn my work and I'm going to slip stitch in the last double crochet I made. Now chain 2. That does not count as a stitch. And then double crochet in the next stitch. So that's how I've been finishing my rounds and then starting a new one. So I'm ready to just keep double crocheting until I get to the first increase. So here's that double crochet 2 that doesn't count as a stitch. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 double crochets. And then in the next stitch, I'll place 3 double crochets for my first increase. Just like that. And then at the end of the previous round, you'll see I have this little hole here, so that's the spot where we've skipped 2 stitches. So again, we had to do that kind of weird thing up here with the slip stitches so that we're kind of skipping 2 stitches here. And you can see here that the holes are a little bit uneven along where I'm starting and ending my rounds. That just comes from having to turn my work. That's what I was saying earlier about how this area looks kind of weird and it could be done better, but it's good enough for me for now. And I'm probably gonna place this part under my arm so it won't really be that noticeable. But I wanted to show that to y'all because I think this is the trickiest part of that pattern so far, is just starting and ending your rounds. Of course, if you can think of a better way to do it, then do that, but this is what I'm going with for now, just so that I can get this done, and I don't think that it's gonna be that big of a deal. But here to compare, that just looks much more even than this. But it's not too far off. It's not too bad. Okay, so big news. The Animal Crossing update came out early. I'm not prepared for this. I was planning on crocheting all day today. I wanted to get more of my sweater done before I spent like the whole rest of the next however many days just playing Animal Crossing. So my plans are not gonna work out. This is how much I have done of my sweater so far. I think I need like 3 more rounds and then I would be to the point that I would do some armhole shaping. So like a lot's done, but I really wanted to get way more of this done before the update came out. Like 8 hours of crocheting today, I would have gotten almost the whole body done, I think. If I get the Animal Crossing bug out of me today, if I play a lot, then maybe I'll crochet tomorrow. So yeah, we're just gonna roll with it. I think I got Animal Crossing out of my system enough yesterday that I can spend a good chunk of today crocheting. I still will be playing some Animal Crossing later, but I do really want to make good progress on this sweater. I think it'd be so fun to wear this while I'm still like hyped up from the new update. So that means I do have to pause playing sometimes so I can crochet. I think I'm at the point now where I can start making space for the armholes. So far I've been working in the round all the way around the body, but now I'm gonna mark off where I just want the front panel to be and where I want the back panel to be. So I'll just work both of those flat and not continue in the round so that I have space for the sleeves later. So I made a little bit of progress on this. I did like 4 rows and then I got a really bad migraine, so I actually just woke up from a nap. I feel better. I still have a little bit of a migraine, but it's not so bad that I can't like keep working, so I am gonna keep crocheting on this. But first, I wanted to show y'all my mood scarf. I was thinking about this project because I just had a migraine, and this project, if you're not familiar with it, is my 2025 mood scarf, where I did track my moods, but also my migraines. So this is like almost done. I'm done crocheting all of the rows, but now I just have like 1,000 million bajillion ends to weave in, which I'm slowly doing. Look at how cute it is. I love all the colors, but it does leave a ton of ends to weave in. So I would like to eventually make like a little short or something kind of going over what I learned through tracking my mood each day of the year in 2025. But today we can talk about the migraines because I just had a migraine. I had 25 migraines in 2025. That's horrible. That's so awful. I can't believe, like 2 a month. That's bad. That's not fun. I don't like it. And now this is my first migraine of 2026 that I just had. For 2026, I'm tracking my levels of fatigue because that's something I learned from doing this mood scarf is I had a lot of days where I was super tired. And so I thought for 2026, I should track like how tired I am each day, but I also still want to track my migraines. So for 2026, I'm going to track my levels of fatigue and I'm going to mark each day that I have a migraine. But all that to say, I really love my new scarf and I just wanted to take the opportunity to show it to y'all and talk about it because I had a migraine and it was a good segue. So this is my mood scarf. Look at it and tell me that you love it. Okay, I'll get back to crocheting. I have been making good progress on this sweater. I have the whole front part of it done, so all the way up to the shoulders. And then I have a good amount of the back panel done, but I wanted to wait until I had time to kind of show y'all what I'm doing. It's going to be similar to the front panel so that I can have it be like flat, because right now I have this, you know, all these little indents. As you can see on the front, I went in and filled in all of those indents so that I could have just a straight line across the top so that I could do the neck hole shaping easier. And I'm going to do a similar thing on the back. I need to go in, fill in all the indents so that I have a straight line so that I can do the back of the neck hole shaping. So since I'm trying to kind of give y'all instruction on what I'm doing to make my sweater, I wanted to go in and show y'all vaguely how I'm going to fill in these indents to get a straight line across the top. So basically what we're going to do is over the course of a few rows, we're going to use a combination of single crochets, half double crochets, and double crochets to fill in this indent. So up here where the curve is highest, we're going to use single crochets, and then we'll use some half double crochets as we go down, and then double crochets in the lowest part of the valley. And then we'll go back up, we'll use half double crochets, and then single crochets as we get to the next peak. The combination of those stitches that you use will be totally dependent on your project. If you're doing the same number of stitches per peak and valley as I am, which is a total of 21 stitches, then yours might be the same as mine, but it really just depends. It can take a little bit of trial and error, but basically what we want to do is over the course of a few rows, get this line as straight as we can. So I'm going to start my row with a few single crochets. Now that I'm partway down this slope, I'm going to switch to half double crochets. And then now that we're in the valley, I'm going to do double crochets. And since we're not doing any increases or decreases, I am not skipping any of the stitches. I'm not putting multiple stitches in any stitch. It's all just crochet straight across. Now I'm going to do 3 more half double crochets, and now single crochet. And now again, since we're partway down this slope, I'm going to do another 3 half double crochets, and then I'll do my double crochets when I get to the lowest point of the valley, and I'm just going to repeat that all the way across. So now we're at the end of the row. You can see that these valleys are not as deep as they were before, but it still isn't even, so we need to do another row doing that exact same thing. So I'm going to turn my work. So I'm going to single crochet for a little while. Then I'll half double crochet. Then I'll do some double crochets. Then some more half double crochets. And then single crochet. And you can see that with just a couple rows, we're getting a really nice straight line across the top here. So I'm just going to continue doing that across the row. So again, you can see that this is getting a pretty straight line at the top, but it's not quite there yet. So I do need to do 1 more row of a combination of single crochets, half double crochets, and double crochets. It's going to be a different combination than the last couple rows, just because the valley is like really not as deep as it was before, but I'm going to let y'all kind of figure that out for yourselves, because there's no particular formula. I'm just figuring it out as I go as well. So just do some trial and error and you'll get there. And then once I have a pretty straight line across the back, I'm just going to switch to doing only double crochet again, because the majority of this is double crochet. I'm only messing around with some other stitches so that I can get this straight line. And I'll go in and do a little bit of neck shaping. I grabbed a sweater that I like the neckline of, and that's how I got the shaping for the front, is I just kind of copied the shape from that other sweater. So I'm just going to copy the back of the neckline on that same sweater for my new sweater as well. So if you're making this sweater along with me today, then I would suggest you go grab one of your sweaters too that you like the neckline of and really just copy the shape of it. It's very easy, and it's like a foolproof method to getting the neckline shape that you want. Okay, the body is almost done. So I have the shoulders all done. I can wear it, which is very nice. I think it's fitting really well. I need to go in and fill in all the valleys along the bottom, and then I need to do something about the valleys in the armholes. I think the neckline is really good. Here is the back. So like I was saying earlier, I just took a sweater that I liked the neckline of and I just kind of copied it. So that's like the best, most foolproof method of getting a neckline right on like any fiber arts thing. Just take the neckline from something that you already like. For me, I feel like for the longest time, getting the necklines right on my projects was always so hard, but it's because I was just kind of doing it blind. But you don't have to. Like, you can freehand it, but you just literally, you just mimic the shape of something that you already own, that you like. So Jared and I are going to go on a little walk to the grocery store, and then when we come back, I will probably finish filling in all of the valleys along the bottom. And if I have time, I will do something about the underarms, so that way tomorrow can be sleeve day. think I'm at the point where I can start working on the sleeves. Last night I crocheted around the bottom here to make it a bit, you know, more straight across. And then this morning I did that same thing on like the armpit area on both sides. So those are a bit more flat as well. So now I'm gonna start with the sleeves. So my plan for the sleeve is to do it all in double crochet again. I'm gonna do a little section of green first before I get back into the chevron and color work section. To start, I'm just gonna crochet along this like top arch here, crochet a panel flat out until I reach kind of the end of the armpit. And then once I get to that point, then I'll start crocheting in the round and go for the whole length of the sleeve. So then I'll just go in and sew this section of the sleeve to the armpit. Hopefully that becomes more clear as I go along. I've done a good amount of this sleeve and I am not really liking how it's turning out, but I don't really want to frog the whole thing without having another plan in place. So I'm going to start this other sleeve, do it a different way. Hopefully I like it better, and then maybe I'll frog this one. I'm hoping that I won't have to frog like the whole thing. I might only have to frog part of it. That's kind of why I want to do this other sleeve first, because who knows? Who knows what I'll be able to salvage from this sleeve. It's just kind of like puffing up and flaring out in a way that I don't love. And then I really want the, you know, when I bring in the white, I want it to match up with where the white is right here. So I need to figure that out. Okay, clearly I have changed my plan on the sleeve completely. I undid, I think it was this side, I undid everything I had done on that previous sleeve and I have gone in a totally different direction. I am not going to start with it attached, obviously. I am making the sleeve on its own, and then basically after it's finished, then I'll attach it to the body, and I'll do the same for the other sleeve. So it's like 3/4 of the way done. I just have this little section here to do, and that's gonna be all green. I think that this is working out pretty perfectly because I really wanted these lines, you know, to line up from the body to the sleeve, and look, it's like perfect. So I just have to do this section and then sew it onto the body. And I'm just gonna copy this same thing for the other sleeve. I hope I have enough green yarn. This is always my problem. I never know if I have enough yarn, because like I still have this whole section of green to do. I have the whole other sleeve to do. I have the neckline to do. I have the ribbing to do, and then I have the cuffs to do. So I do need a lot of green yarn. So I guess we'll see. If I have to buy more, I have to buy more. If I have to wait, I have to wait. That's my own fault. The last time I checked in with y'all, I think I had almost one whole sleeve done, but it's been a few days, so I actually have both sleeves done. Both sleeves except for the cuffs. I'm gonna wait to do those till the end so that I can kind of adjust the length of the sleeves so that they fit me properly. I want to kind of walk y'all through the construction of these sleeves in a little bit, but first I have a little update. This is all the green yarn I have left, and I still have to do both of the cuffs on the sleeves. I have to do the neckline, and I have to do the bottom hem. So the other day I actually ordered some yarn. Long story, we went to Michael's. They didn't have any yarn that was even close to the same color. I was like so desperate. I was willing to not get the same yarn that I used because I bought this yarn from Knit Picks and I didn't want to have to wait for the shipping, but they didn't have anything. And so then I looked on Knit Picks and I would have to pay $1 billion for them to ship me. I only need one more skein of yarn in like a reasonable amount of time. I wasn't gonna do that. So I looked on Amazon. All I could find was a 10-pack of this yarn in this color. So I have 10 skeins of this coming in a few days. I was desperate. I'll think of something to use the rest of the yarn for, but yeah, ridiculous solution to a ridiculous situation I placed myself in by not just buying one more skein of yarn. So this project is going to end up taking much longer than I anticipated because like I'm going to get through all of this yarn today and I still have to wait a few days for 10 more skeins of yarn to show up. In the meantime though, I will explain the construction of these sleeves in case you are making a similar sweater along with me, and then we can just do whatever we can until I run out of yarn today. So I've put my sleeve up against the body of my sweater so you can kind of see how it'll fit into the sweater once I sew it on. So just like with the body, I started with the chevron pattern, doing 2 rows of each color until I had kind of the length that I wanted. And then I went in and again with the same thing with the body, you can see I did these like kind of uneven rows to even out the peaks and valleys so that I had more of a straight line to work with, since I was going to put this sleeve into this little L shape in the body of my sweater. So once I got to the point where I was just doing this green over and over again, I actually stopped from doing this in the round to doing it kind of like a panel back and forth so that it's open right here so that I can sew this part of the sleeve onto the back of the armpit on the body, and then this part of the sleeve onto the front part of the armpit on the body. So it kind of opens up. And then I just left this super long tail so that I can go in and sew this to the body of my sweater. Then on the bottom, I did the same thing that I did on the bottom of the body of my sweater. I went in and filled up the peaks and valleys again on the bottom of the chevron so that I have this flat edge to work with when I go in and make the cuff. And then I just repeated all of those same steps for the second sleeve so they are identical. So now I'll get to sewing the sleeves onto the body of my sweater. I got both sleeves attached and it's looking really good. I'm super excited about this. I think I'm gonna move on to working on the cuffs on the sleeves. I think I probably only have enough yarn to do one cuff and I'm not exactly sure what I want to do for the cuffs, so I'm just going to kind of experiment and figure it out as I go. Once I figure out what I'm going to do for the cuffs, then I will share with y'all the specifics of that. So I finished the first cuff. It was very easy. I will show y'all how to do the cuff when I do the second one, but this is all the yarn I have left. So we're gonna just have to wait until the other yarn shows up. Then I will show y'all how to do this cuff. It looks really good. It's exactly what I was envisioning in my head. It took a little bit of trial and error to figure out just like what is the easiest way to do this. You know, I decided to just do it like the cuff separately, then sew it on. I was thinking of just like making the cuff from the sleeve, but this is just easier and it looks really good and I'm very happy with it. So I guess I will just see y'all in a few days. I have no idea how many days it's been, but I finally got my yarn, all 10 skeins when I only need one. Last time I checked in with y'all, I believe we were working on this first cuff before I ran out of yarn, and I promised that I was gonna show y'all how I did the cuff when we started working on the other cuff. So that's what we're gonna do first today. I'm using my same hook that I've used for my whole sweater, and I have my yarn, and I'm gonna start with a slip knot, and I'm gonna chain 11. I'm making my whole cuff out of single crochets, and I want my cuff to be 10 stitches long. So that's why I chained 11, because I have my 10 chains plus a chain 1 like I'll do at the beginning of every single row. So I'm going to place my first single crochet in the second chain from my hook. And then just single crochet in every chain across. So this is what my cuff looks like at the end of row 1. Now I'm going to turn my work, chain 1, and I'm going to work in the back loop of every stitch of this row. So place a single crochet in the back loop of the first stitch, single crochet in the back loop of the second stitch, and just do that all the way across. And you can already see that ribbing starting to form. So now we'll turn our work, chain 1, and work in the back loop of every single stitch. And again, you can easily see that ribbing starting to form. So we're just going to keep doing that over and over and over again until you like how wide your cuff is. It's just going to be one long panel, and then eventually we'll fold it over. So just keep holding it around your wrist and measuring it until you like how wide it is. Now that my cuff is the length that I like, I'm going to fold my cuff in half so I can attach these two ends together. I'm going to turn my work and chain 1. Then I'm going to insert my hook into this first chain. We're working along this starting chain here. Insert my hook into the first chain, and then insert my hook into the back loop of the first stitch on this part that's a little further away from me, and slip stitch. Then insert my hook into the next chain on this half of the cuff that's closer to me, and then insert my hook into the back loop on this row that's further away, and slip stitch. Insert my hook into the third chain, and then in the back loop of the next stitch on the other row, and slip stitch, and just do that all the way across. Chain 1 to fasten off, and I'm going to leave a really long tail because I need it to sew my cuff onto my sleeve. And as you can see, this type of seam that we did here looks pretty invisible. It looks just like the ribbing going all around the cuff on the inside and on the outside. So now we're ready to sew it onto the sleeve. To sew my cuff onto my sleeve, I'm just going to take my long tail and a darning needle, and I'm going to insert my darning needle through this upper edge and then through one of the stitches on my sleeve. Pull it tight. Then insert my needle through the upper edge again and through the next stitch. Insert my needle through the upper edge and then through the next stitch. And I'm just going to do that all the way around my cuff and my sleeve. My cuff has 31 rows all the way around, and my sleeve has 29 stitches all the way around. So I can pretty much just sew one row to one stitch. Yours might be a little different. You might have to sew one row to two stitches, two rows to one stitch. You know, it just kind of depends. But if you just hold your cuff up to your sleeve and kind of stretch it out over that area, and then as you're sewing, just you insert your needle into this top edge. Wherever your needle lands on whatever stitch, just sew it into that stitch. It doesn't have to be perfect, and that's all it takes to sew your cuff onto your sleeve. And with that, both cuffs are done. So now I'm gonna start on the bottom ribbing. And I'm gonna do it exactly the same way that I did the cuffs. I'm even gonna have it be, I think, the same length, so 10 stitches long. So I'm just gonna make a really long panel and then slip stitch it together into a tube and then just sew it along the bottom of my sweater. All right, the bottom hem is all done. I think it looks really good. It took me quite a while to make such a long panel. It took me like all last night, and then I got it sewn on pretty easy this morning. So now the only thing that's left is the neckline, and I'm just gonna do the same thing that I've been doing. I'm gonna make a kind of long, skinny panel of ribbing and just sew it on. The cuffs and the bottom hem were all 10 stitches long. I think that's a little bit too tall for the collar, so I think I'm gonna make it 8 stitches long. It shouldn't take me that long. It's just this section right here. It's not nearly as much crocheting as I had to do for the bottom hem, so I think today is the day that we're gonna finish this sweater. Okay, it's finally done. I can't believe how long this took me. This was quite the endeavor, but it's so worth it. This is such a cute sweater. I can't believe it. Those Animal Crossing designers really know what they're doing. Thinking back on the weird construction that I did for this sweater, I definitely think I could have done it in a better way and not in such like a hodgepodge way. You know, I made the body and then I had to make the sleeves separate and sew those on, and then I made all of the ribbing separate and had to sew all of those pieces on. That's just a lot of pieces that need to be sewn on. I prefer, you know, if I'm making a sweater, it's all just kind of one piece and you don't really have to sew a whole lot of stuff. I'll insert a clip of me wearing the sweater once it's been blocked. It's gonna take a couple days for it to dry, unfortunately, so I can't wear it tonight when I play Animal Crossing, but you know, I've waited this long, so I'm just gonna have to be a little bit more patient. I'm honestly surprised at how good it looks, even though it hasn't been blocked yet. I thought it was gonna look like way lumpier, but like there's a part of me that's hesitating on blocking it. Like it looks that good. I will block it. I know I need to. But it just looks so good. It's like it doesn't even need to be blocked. That's how good it looks. So I think that's all I have for y'all. I am assuming this is going to be a very long video since this took me forever to make. So I hope that y'all enjoyed it coming along with me while I made this crazy sweater. If you did, then remember to leave a like and consider subscribing for more crochet videos. I want to give a huge thank you to my channel members. I know I've been a little inconsistent lately. The beginning of this year has just been kind of crazy, so I really appreciate y'all's ongoing support. It means so much to me. If you'd like to become a channel member and get access to exclusive perks, then you can click the join button down below or find the link in the description. I hope y'all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!